Welcome everyone. Good afternoon. It's a gorgeous day here. Thanks for coming everyone. My name is Gary Furtado and I am the President and CEO of Navigant Credit Union right here. We're here today to speak about Rhode Island's small business community, about Payroll Protection Program, PPP loans. As a lender, Navigant understands how important the PPP program is to all businesses in Rhode Island, especially small businesses. Since the PPP program was launched last year, Navigant's done about 1,600 loans, totaling about $120 million. So we've helped 1,600 businesses. Our largest loan was about $3 million, and our smallest loan, believe it or not, was $437. So that is a small business, $437, but that helped them out a lot. Today we're here to talk about the program that President Biden has instituted for a couple of weeks, where companies with 20 or less employees are allowed to apply. Everyone else is put on hold. Out of our 1,600 loans, about half of those loans were given to companies with 20 or less employees. So it is a very needed plan. I'm fortunate today to have three individuals behind me here that are all big supporters of small businesses in Rhode Island. We have our Lieutenant Governor, soon-to-be Governor, Dan McKee. We have our Rhode Island Commerce Secretary, Pryor, and we have Mark S. Haywood, who is District Director of the United States Small Business Association, SBA. I'd like to introduce Lieutenant Governor Dan McKee, and through his career, before Lieutenant Governor, as Lieutenant Governor, been a big supporter of small businesses, for sure. Lieutenant Governor.
Thanks, Gary. Thank you, Gary, and thank you to Navigant Credit Union to taking the lead on this most important, opportunity that our small businesses have in the state of Rhode Island to be able to get a PPP loan, which could be turned into a grant, which is very important for all our small businesses. I want to recognize Commerce Secretary Pryor, and along with SBA Director Mark Haywood, and Randy Rossi from the town manager from this great community of Smithfield that we're standing in right today. I'll just really briefly, give it a little review of why this is so important to me, why this has been, I've taken this issue so personal. Our family has been in small business for generations, and I've rode the roller coaster of the bank crisis, of the internet bubble on 9/11, as well as the real estate collapse in 2008 timeframe. And I know the pressure that it puts on families, the pressure it puts on the staff that we work with, and also the pressure that it puts on the people that live in our communities that rely on our small businesses every single day of the week. So as you know, the top priority for me right now is obviously the COVID, getting vaccinations into the arms of people as quickly as possible, and making sure we're setting up both state and team efforts, town and municipality efforts that can get those vaccinations out as quickly as we possibly can. That's how we get our students back in school. That's how we get our businesses back in business, and that's what we're talking about here today. In particular, the Biden administration, as Gary just talked about, creating special provisions for small businesses with 20 and under employees. We really need to make a full court press on this. We need to make sure that we're putting feet on the ground and talking to all those small businesses that could use this help, and not only the fact that they could use the help, but bringing these dollars into the state of Rhode Island that circulates 4 or 5 times in our communities. So it's also an economic stimulus for us, not only a benefit to the small businesses. So I'll let Mark Haywood highlight that when he gets up to the mic, but I'll also emphasize that we need to reach all 39 cities and towns. That's been a theme of my office for the last 6 years. It's certainly going to continue to be that, and on our visits, I'll just mention when I was with the town manager in Smithfield on one of my tours of 39 cities and towns, and we visited a handful of businesses, and many of them were not aware of the programs that were available, and many of them, quite frankly, were concerned about even government knocking on their door. But this time around, we need to make sure that we do that, and I'm going to encourage all the town CEOs, the town and city CEOs, to really rally behind this opportunity. So I'll just leave it at that, but I want to just say that, you know, we have continued, as you know, and we're going to continue to work with the small businesses. We're going to continue those virtual town hall meetings that we've had for the last 10 months, interacting with thousands of small businesses in the state, having leaders like Secretary Pryor, our DLT director, soon to be new director, Matt Weldon, Liz Tanner from DBR, and others that have joined on those calls with me to talk about a grassroots effort to help small businesses. Rhode Island is not going to reopen strong without supporting its small businesses. That's the bottom line. We need to make sure that we support them, and my new administration will do everything we can to help rebuild Rhode Island's economy, and it will depend on rebuilding small businesses. So I'll hand it back over to Gary, and I'll be available for questions afterwards. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Appreciate it. Next, I'd like to introduce another busy individual. We have Rhode Island Commerce Secretary Stephen Pryor. As I mentioned, he's been a busy man before the pandemic and even busier for the last year. So introduce Rhode Island Commerce Secretary Stephen Pryor.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you for the leadership that you've exercised throughout the pandemic. We've been blessed with Gary's leadership among financial institutions as we've formulated our policies for small business and as we've listened to banks and credit unions and other lenders as to their needs. Gary does an exceptional job. I want to note that Navigant was in the nation's top 20 credit unions by volume for PPP in the past round and is doing an absolutely exceptional job. Gary and the entire Navigant team, thank you and congratulations. It really is a privilege to be here with Lieutenant Governor Dan McKee as he is poised to enter the governor's office. I want to tell you about Lieutenant Governor McKee. Through the entire pandemic, he was focused upon small businesses as a matter of policy, but also truly keeping track of individual cases where a gap could be filled, where an individual business person could be helped in accordance with the rules within programs. He would send that information and pursue solutions. It's fantastic to have an incoming governor who understands the policy and is sure to deliver for small business, and it's an honor to be working with this lieutenant governor who's soon to be our governor. And one of his biggest points of emphasis in public, you witness it, but even in private, was we've got to get every last PPP dollar that's owed to our small businesses and all of our businesses. We were on a call this morning with the COVID response team, and one of Governor McKee's points of emphasis was, how can the health team provide access for small businesses at other places where business people are going? Maybe they're getting a test, maybe they're getting a vaccine, so that they're aware of PPP information. How can we team up through our health equity zones to get information out to small business people who may not ordinarily be banking with the institutions that are doing PPP? So under Governor McKee's mandate, we're going to do more and more and more to help small businesses access the funds that they deserve in order to survive and thrive through and after this crisis. We're very pleased that under Governor McKee's leadership, we've established some technical assistance partnerships specifically to help small businesses access the PPP that's available to them. We have 7 technical assistance partners. These are community partners who can walk a small business through the PPP process, help them apply, and help them secure the funds. I'm going to name them. These are all available, this information, on the commerceri.com website. The Center for Southeast Asians, the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the Rhode Island Society of CPAs, the Multicultural Innovation Center, MIC, the Rhodes Consulting Group, Rhode Island SCORE, and the Rhode Island Small Business Development Center, or SBDC. These 7 partners can help a small business, whether they currently have a bank, whether they currently work with a credit union, or whether they don't. Find those institutions that are willing to do even a first PPP dose, like Navigant is willing to do. I want to note that also on the commerceri.com website, we have a list of the dozen and climbing banks and credit unions, including Navigant, thank you Navigant, that are offering first-time doses, first-time disbursements to small businesses in Rhode Island. So more to come under Governor McKee, but we're very grateful for these multiple partnerships. And Gary, back to you, but I know you're turning it over to Director Mark Hayward, but I just want to note, I don't think there is a more knowledgeable, more on-the-go SBA director in the entire United States. I've seen Mark Hayward in national forums, right here on the ground in Rhode Island. He's exceptionally good. So with this governor and this director, Rhode Island's in good shape. Back to you, Gary.
Thank you, Mr. Pryor, Commerce Secretary Pryor. Thank you very much. And the last person I want to introduce, as Secretary said, Mark S. Hayward, who is the Rhode Island District Director of the United States Small Business Administration, the SBA. And as you mentioned, Mark has been a busy guy. I can say for a fact I get emails at midnight, at 4 in the morning. I don't think the guy ever sleeps. So he's had a long year, but he continues to do a great job. And as the Secretary said, well respected and nationally for the SBA. So my pleasure to turn it over to Mark S. Hayward.
Thank you, Gary. Afternoon, everyone. I can see that this is press dress down day, is it? Is that what? Everybody's dressed down. And thank you, everybody, for coming today. Thank you, Governor McKee, for your leadership in assisting our Rhode Island small business community both survive and thrive. You among all, have stood in the void to support the small business community of this state. And for that, we are forever appreciative of your efforts. I also want to thank and congratulate Gary Furtado, the President and CEO of Navigant Credit Union, for his determination and his leadership in the lending community. His foresight and vision has provided thousands of loans to the Rhode Island small business community, and they have been successful. Navigant Credit Union has been the leader and one of the specific leaders in the Paycheck Protection Program. The Congress of the United States has tasked the smallest of federal agencies with the largest of responsibility. They've chosen the United States Small Business Administration to serve as the leader in economic recovery, as we have taken the mantle with determination and pride and a lot of long hours. The Paycheck Protection Program has been and will continue to be a critical component of Rhode Island's recovery. When the first round of PPP came to a close in August of 2020, the SBA Rhode Island District Office approved 17,942 PPP loans to the Rhode Island small business community for over $1.9 billion. With the second round of funding under the Economic Aid Act today, as of today, February the 26th, 2021, the SBA has approved an additional 8,079 loans for $701,986,886.09. Of the approved loans, 1,219 loans are first draws for business, as well as 501c6s that have become eligible based upon the Economic Aid Act. The math is simple. This means over 26,000 forgivable loans have been provided to the Rhode Island small business community for over $2.7 billion. That's a sizable sum for the state of Rhode Island. Add to that amount 10,857 economic injury disaster loans for $580 million. We are now over $3.2 billion in liquidity infused into the Rhode Island economy. The SBA and lenders like Navigant Credit Union, as well as our small business advocates like Governor McKee, have worked tirelessly to ensure that small businesses who need capital are receiving it. Now, we are far from the end of the line, as we have a lot of work to do as we go forward today. Our goal is to ensure that the Rhode Island small businesses understand that these funds are available to everybody, specifically to those small businesses with fewer than 19 employees. Just a few days ago, the President announced and directed the SBA to focus on lending to the smallest of small businesses. President Biden and his team instructed the SBA to provide more equitable access to small business capital. As such, the agency for the next 12 days, and the reason why I say 12 is because it began on Wednesday, so we're the second day into this, will only provide loans to businesses with less than 20 employees. He instituted a 14-day period in which businesses with fewer than 20 employees can apply for relief through the PPP. Revised PPP funding formula for sole props, independent contractors, and the self-employed individuals to allow individuals to receive more financial support by revising the PPP funding formula and setting aside $1 billion for this category. This will allow sole proprietors or sole props, independent contractors, and the self-employed to use line 7 versus line 31 of the 1040 Schedule C tax return, thereby increasing their availability to dollars. Types of businesses impacted by this change will include contractors, beauticians, small independent retailers, and personal trainers. Statistics say that 60% of the businesses without employees are owned by women and people of color. In addition to this $1 billion set aside, there will be a focus on low and moderate income areas. The President's directive also included eliminate exclusionary restrictions for non-federal fraud felonies, removal of the student loan delinquency restrictions. Working with the Treasury and Education Departments, the SBA will do our best to remove that from the platform which is currently on. Access for non-citizens, small business owners who are lawful in the United States, we will ensure that those individuals, provided by, they have specific TIN numbers, will have availability to the PPP funds. While the United States Small Business Administration is playing a major role in funding and financing of our small businesses here in Rhode Island, the Congress also saw fit that we would continue to play a major role in the counseling and training of our small businesses. We are fortunate to have a vibrant cadre of volunteers in our SCORE chapter, which is led by Rochelle Blees and Jim Mulcher, that each and every day they are assisting small businesses not only to apply for a loan, but to apply for forgiveness for the loans that they have already gotten. Add to that the SBA's Center for Women in Enterprise, led by Veronica Martinez, and our Small Business Development Center from the University of Rhode Island, which is headed by Ed Huttenhauer. All of these SBA-supported facilities have received additional COVID-19 up funds, which gives them the ability to go beyond what they were doing before. This network of resource partners, trust me, are second to none. I would also be remiss if I didn't mention the dedicated staff of SBA. They work countless hours to ensure that we're responding to all of the small businesses the best we can. I also want to thank Secretary Pryor for supporting our efforts through other resources. But I also, when you look at across the landscape of Rhode Island, and Governor McKee has talked about this on many occasions, we are a state of hospitality. And Dale Venturini and the Rhode Island Hospitality Association have been unbelievable partners as we have gone down this road. Both she and Melissa Travis from the Rhode Island Society of CPAs have stood up to ensure that those parts of our economy are well taken care of. Yes, Rhode Island is well positioned, and I appreciate the leadership of Governor McKee. And to Gary Furtado, we always look at there are lenders across the spectrum, But the one great thing about Gary Furtado is it's very rare that no would be in his vocabulary. He might not be able to do everything that's been asked of him, but he won't say no. He'll give it a try. And I think that's what the small business community is all about. And I thank you, Governor, for having me here today.